What is up? Welcome to another NeON topic for, Thursday, March 27th? That's right. We're here on twitch.tv/Neon Pocket Dimension with a couple of good friends. We're here to talk Nintendo stuff tonight. We had a Nintendo Direct this morning, so we'll touch on a bit of that. And we're going to go through our hopes and dreams and predictions for the Switch 2 with that Direct coming up on April 2nd. But before we get into the topic of the show, let's introduce our panel of guests. I have to my right the very red, very rojo producer supreme himself. That's Jacob Jones, aka OM Jesus. What's up, dude?
You're late.
For what?
Fair enough.
There you go. Gage was a little late to the stream, so I just
was
want to call that out. What's up? Ready to talk Switch 2 bullshit today. How's everyone doing?
Excellent.
Got one thumbs up. That's good.
We got one thumbs up. Yeah, for sure. And then to his right, he could be frozen. He could just be weird. I'm going with the latter. That's right. It's Mr. Hawks. How's it going?
Oh,
dude?
man, I had my eyes open that whole time.
That looked difficult. That's like podcasting T-pose.
Yeah.
And then we're getting down the line. Keep going right. That's right. It's BLP Entertainment's James Halliday. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk Nintendo.
Glad to have you back. And finally, you're so far away. I think you're that way. Yeah, there we are. Hi, buddy. He's over there in the Mushroom Kingdom. It's the smoothest voice in seductive, sexy content. It's the singer, bro.
He has no
Nope,
voice.
you're muted. You're
That's
muted.
perfect.
I think the Switch 2 will
Voice.
be excellent.
Oh, fantastic.
Nice work.
Glad to have you jump in today. We were gonna have our buddy Steve. Want to shout out to him, but he had something going on. He had to.
I'm the
bail
Steve they
out.
tell you not to worry about.
Exactly.
That's right.
So we
Other
we
Steve.
miss you. We love you, but we'll have you back on content soon. Don't you
Swap
worry.
out one Steve for a Steve.
One Steve for Steve,
Minecraft.
and yeah, we're doing it. How's everyone doing tonight? Did everyone watch the Direct today? Did everyone wake up early for it, or did you just see it throughout the day?
I
Woke
watched
up early.
Kind of Funny react to it, and I was 100% like, holy shit, they're bringing Final Fantasy Rebirth?
Oh man, it was so good. It was so
That was
good.
the best.
Yeah.
That was the best.
I was here sitting here laughing my ass off. My wife, who also works in my home studio, was like, "What the hell is so funny?" I was like, "It would be such a long bit to get you caught up to speed on Greg Miller's bullshit." But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was
all right.
I was watching it on my TV in my living room and just screaming, laughing, and my dog came up
Cackling.
and was just like, "What the fuck is going on here? You're supposed to be an adult."
He's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for sure. So at the top of the hour, I didn't really make notes about this. I just figured we'd kind of like go down the line and see. Just tell me like how you felt about the Direct today, and maybe just one thing that stood out to you, whether it was positive or negative. Real quick, just to go through, if anyone didn't know, or if you're watching this later, Nintendo kind of had their swan song of a Nintendo Switch 1 Direct today. So it was kind of some final announcements and games for this year, but also weirdly games for 2026, which is unexplainable. But yeah, it just seemed like they were kind of trying to get the fluff or the extra stuff out of the way of the Switch 2 Direct that's coming up next week. So I would have called it a pretty meh Direct. I mean, I think there was some stuff cool there, especially some stuff for people that aren't me. But overall, I was pretty puzzled by the whole thing, and I feel like we didn't get very many like concrete details, which usually Nintendo is pretty good about, like at least giving us information if they're showing us something for the second time. So yeah, I'd give it like a 5.5, 6 kind of thing on the scale. But going down the line, Jacob, what'd you think?
Yeah, I said 6 out of 10 as well. Like not bad, just in the middle. They did announce a couple cool projects. Like there's this Marvel game that was super dope, like a beat 'em up. Looks dope as hell. There is some returns of some franchises that Nintendo hasn't put out anything for specific reasons. That was cool. But But like for the most part, it's just like obviously they're saving the good stuff for the Switch 2. You know, like we know the Switch 2 will be backwards compatible to Switch 1 games. So these games coming out next year is like not a big deal if the Switch 2 is coming out this year, you know, but it's just like, I mean, it feels like the last time we'll hear from the Switch 1. So I'm sure we're not going to have like the biggest things, and that's what they shown. But Metroid Prime 4 is pretty sweet. Well, then they talked about this game sharing thing that set off this cascading insane conversation I had with like a lot of gamers today about people sharing accounts so they can play games and then being mad that like Nintendo is allowing you to share game cartridges digitally or something. It's kind of crazy. We already talked about like we need to just do a fucking whole other video on game sharing and like that whole topic because it's kind of crazy. But overall, like I said, middle of the line. Like I'm not like, oh my god, but there was some alright stuff in there, and this app, which we'll get into in a sec.
You know it.
Yeah.
Right on.
So weird.
It's so weird. And yeah, I'll jump to you, Steven, at the end, and we'll come back to the middle. What do you think about the Direct today? And I don't know, anything that stood out to you?
Okay, so Rhythm Heaven. That's what I'll say. Rhythm Heaven.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
For fans of the series, it's like a WarioWare with rhythm games.
Yeah, it's been on hiatus for a while. I think the creator had cancer actually, and then he came back to make it again, which is really cool. So, yeah, definitely was one of those things that's like, well, why don't we have one on the Switch yet? And of course, now here we are. But if you love WarioWare, if you like rhythm games and stuff, fucking check out Rhythm Heaven. Rad.
Cool. Hell yeah.
Sweet.
All right. James, what do you think?
I would probably set it around a 6 out of 10 as well, but I think it's really important to preface that we're getting the real Direct next week. Like this is like it didn't need to be anything more than a 6 out of 10. Like if it was dropping like bombs, then it's I don't know, it's going to be
weird.
Very bloated,
Yeah.
right? So they gave us a little bit more of what we already knew. They gave us a few odds and ends. My wife came running out of the bedroom because she heard Witchbrook announced on it, and she wanted to see that. So she was stoked for stuff. So it might not be for us hardcore people, but for some of the more casual people, there's some games there for you.
Maybe like some, hey, are you not going to buy a Switch 2 because you're just a super casual gamer?
Yeah.
Here's like some weird little things that you would probably want to play, like Tomodachi Life and shit like that. All right. Last but not least, Mr. Hawks, what's up?
Okay.
Yeah, that's about what I thought.
No, it was. I wasn't expecting much. I think I was expecting even less than what we got, and I wasn't expecting much. And that mostly is just Metroid. I did not think we would see Metroid Prime 4 today. I figured if we're seeing that this soon, it's going to be next week. So I was just mostly confused as to why they were doing this today.
Yeah,
there didn't seem to be a reason other than this Nintendo Today app coming out, and then a few games going on sale immediately that you could have probably pushed back till next week anyway.
Totally.
Yeah, I just feel like they probably wanted to get one last communique out before everyone's like, we're never using our Switch again because all we care about is Switch 2.
Yeah, but why?
I think it's weird. I agree it's weird, but
Nintendo Switch 2 is going to play the Switch 1 games, and you announce the same stuff next week, or even in like 3 weeks or some shit. If I buy it now, I'm still excited for the Switch 2 because then I can just play it on that. As long as they do the very simple thing that fucking Xbox does, where you get the same save file and everything across both consoles.
No, I think there's more.
They didn't want to bloat the Direct, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. My point is that they have a lot of stuff to show us next week.
Fucking send an email. What the?
Nintendo doesn't do that. All right,
but I mean,
they do
this. They do this now. Robert, they do this now
about that app, and then be like, go in the app. There's some cool news today, and then the news on there is you can fucking download whatever the shit was that came out. I forgot.
Saga Frontiers, I think.
Yeah.
James,
And
what
but
were you gonna say?
these companies probably pay a lot of money to get their games in a direct, right? And they're probably this is their way of like, all right, these are going to be Switch One games. We're going to show these Switch One games, and I do have a theory about the Metroid stuff, but
Mm.
I'll talk about that in our predictions.
Okay,
because
cool.
I have an idea for that.
Like-
So
All
Really
right.
quick, I want to
Yeah.
apologize. My camera keeps flickering green, and I think there might be a firmware issue that I can't really deal with right now, so I apologize.
It's all right.
It's
It's
all
kind
right.
of fun. It was like
Jacob's
'cause
red.
it follows around
Mhm.
it follows around the Discord windows in a weird way, and it's
Yeah.
kind of exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, talking about Metroid Prime 4, I definitely found that to be the way that they showed that to be kind of peculiar, a little disappointing overall. Not just not because necessarily because of the game, but kind of because of the way that Nintendo's treating this franchise. And so this is going to kind of lead into what we're talking about, is about our hopes for Switch 2. But we all know that Metroid has never really been the system seller, and certainly hasn't been like a big seller as far as their franchises go. And then this was even a weirder one because of the long and drawn out development time for it and stuff like that. But it just feels like they're treating this a little bit lackluster. And today it really was just kind of like, okay, it's another Metroid Prime game, but they didn't put like this big fanfare behind it. And I was kind of disappointed about that, because I feel like if they treated Metroid with the love that they gave Zelda, Mario, Donkey Kong, even, like, there was so much promotion for that remake, or that mastered Donkey Kong game that came out a couple months ago, and yet there was like, it feels like they're not really getting behind Metroid Prime 4 in the same way, unless they do some sort of big blowout and it's like the demonstration for Switch's back compat, or like the way that the Switch up-reses old games. So what do you think? Do you think there's anything there as far as I don't know, why did they show Metroid today if they're just going to show it again at the Switch 2 is I guess what I'm asking.
I think you're
If I
touching
get-
upon like the prediction stuff.
yeah.
You know what I
Cool.
mean?
So we'll hold it.
Yeah.
We'll hold it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I could touch on it if we want
Okay.
to talk about it, because I have a theory, right? Like, I have a
Sure,
theory, the fact that I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a launch title, or within launch window of the Switch 2. And I think we're going to get that date next week.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
but I also think that there might not have been a ton of information, like a ton of stuff to show for Switch 1, and they still want people with Switch 1s to feel like they're getting these games. So they're showing, we saw Pokemon ZA, we saw Metroid Prime 4. So this way we get those people who only are like, I have no intention of getting a new Switch. I like the Switch I have. Oh, I can still play these games. I feel good about this now, right? And
Cool.
but next week we're going to get that announcement. It's going to be launch window, or if not launch title. And then they're going to start the big Metroid Prime push, because if there are rumors to be in June, we're going to see a lot of Metroid promotion, as well as Switch 2 promotion, Mario Kart promotion, stuff like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely think that, I don't know, I'm just hoping that like they give it a little bit of like, hey, this is a Switch 2 game, like this is a maybe not cross-generational game in the same way that like Breath of the Wild was, but just a little bit like, hey, this is why maybe they use Metroid as a way to say like, these graphics are going to be enhanced naturally, but if you play in docked mode on the Switch 2 or whatever that feature is, I mean, we don't still know yet. But okay, before getting, I guess, more into the nitty gritty of that, I just want to get our overall kind of feelings about the end of the Switch's life cycle, maybe like the legacy of the console as it stands right now, and like what your guys' experiences with the Switch were. So like, did anyone like, is this one of your all-time favorite consoles? I'll go down the line, see what you guys think.
The Switch?
Yeah.
Not like my favorite, but it is a great portable console. I've been using it as like a fucking only portable console since the day I got it, and it's been great. But now it's old, and so it's not great. You know what I mean? But like, as
Yeah.
for a console generation, like, I look fondly upon like the GameCube, like the N64 was great. The PlayStation 1 is one of my favorites. You know what I mean? Like, so just the consoles that had like like games that I'll never forget. I don't know. It could just be because I was in middle school and high school at the time too, because I feel like that's always a prerequisite for like favorite everything essentially, right? Like we're all like, oh yeah, man, I love the GameCube, but then later generations will be like, oh man, guys, remember the PS4? That was crazy. Yeah, I was 12. Yeah,
God.
and we're gonna be dead. Dust.
Eventually, you're
My
right.
PS4 middle schoolers.
Yeah,
So
I have to say,
that's
to me,
it.
the only thing that I'll remember the Switch for are the Nintendo games. Like there's nothing for me, at least there's nothing else that was like, oh, this was a Switch exclusive that I wanted to play that wasn't just
Mhm.
honestly fucking Pokemon games. That's all I played on it were the Pokemon games that came out. You know, I've got Mario Kart, I've played that. I have Smash Brothers, I play that occasionally, you know. But I didn't need to buy a Donkey Kong game for the Wii U that came out again. I don't want to fucking play a Zelda game. You know, it's a great console and it's a great
feel you.
starting console. You know, if you
My
will.
heart.
But
Is it
for
wrestling?
me, where I'm at,
If the answer is no, he doesn't want to play it. Okay, simple as that.
I wouldn't want to fucking play a WWE game on a Switch. Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
Unless it was like
That'd be
a
painful.
port of one of the PlayStation 1 games.
Mm.
You know, and
Yeah.
and I think the longer that it takes for Nintendo to come out with a new console, the more damage it does to the Switch legacy. With anything else that's going to come out, do you think Metroid Prime 4, if it's being created for both of the consoles, is going to run anywhere near as good on the first Switch as it will on the Switch 2? It's going to be
I hope.
what, 20 frames per second, and then when you start shooting the vagina doors, it's going to fucking drop down, you know?
I think it'll do quite well. I think we're looking at like just comparing it to the Metroid Prime remaster. That game was phenomenal, and I
Mhm.
played
Yeah.
the ever loving shit out of that game. I think I beat it like 3 times in a row before moving on to something because I love that game, and then 2, the love that they put into it was just impeccable. Like I get what you're saying. I totally understand.
Mhm.
Like there are games, if there's a multi-console option, I typically go for either the PS5 or no, pretty much the PS5. And that's what I'll take over the Switch, but I don't know if we're moving into me now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, take it.
It's already happened.
Well, really quick, I wanted to Cherry in the chat. Hi. It's possible to like games not just for its flashy bits stuff. I totally agree. And look, like I said, the games that I played on the Switch the most were all the Pokemon games. Some of those run like ass. You know what I mean? And
They're
then
fun.
the more that they come out, like they run more and more like ass. And instead of getting better and learning how to use the equipment and the hardware to make the games run better, it seems like they were trying to add more on top of what wasn't really working, making everything else kind of worse. You know, if they were able to optimize it more throughout the life cycle, then you're thinking, oh shit, yeah, this, you know, the last Pokemon game on the Switch it ran great. You know, it ran at 30 frames per second. It doesn't have to be 60 or whatever. Ran at a good 30 frames per second. It was smooth. I wasn't running into all of these issues. But with Scarlet and Violet, it's like,
Ugh.
yeah, you've got
lower
the
than
story
30.
here, but
Yeah, that's not good.
it's lower than 30. There's times where it drops to almost nothing. Textures don't, you know, they'll pop in as you're a foot away from them. You know, it's not that the games don't look as good or they're not running at 60 frames per second. That's not the problem. It seems like the farther they get along in the Switch life cycle, the less they know how to optimize their Switch games.
Oh,
And
Or
if
that they're
Metroid
just
Prime
bug-
4 is
yeah,
supposed to be
they're-
this bigger thing, you know.
No, go for it. Yeah, it just feels like they're butting up against the. I mean, they have been. They've been butting up against the technology for a while. I mean, the Switch is what, like a 2013 Android tablet, like that it's based
Yeah.
off of. You know what I mean? It's like I remember at the beginning of the Switch life cycle, like I was so excited because there was Skyrim on the Switch, and that was actually a big kind of marketing push from their first couple of like whatever announcement trailers for it. And I, at the time, being the Bethesda nerd that I am, I was like, fuck yeah, I can play Skyrim on the go, like in my bed. Like that's the most amazing thing. And I did, and I played it for a while. But now it's like last night I was playing Avowed on my iPad, like in my bed, like, and it was like running fantastic. You know, it was on cloud, but it was like I was just fully
Yeah.
playing Avowed,
Like,
and it like
we've gotten
looked,
to the point where cloud gaming is a viable way of playing games now.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it looked
You know?
amazing. And I'm like, I would never play that game on the Switch
I just
if I could play it even just now on my iPad. It's ridiculous.
think the thing is like the Switch is so old that like newer handhelds have come out that are putting it like
Mm.
way to shame. Like
shame.
before, there was the novelty of, oh, it's portable, it's cool, I'm playing Nintendo games. But then for me, it just gets to that point where it's like the Nintendo games part is lesser than the performance part. Like I don't give a fuck that it's a Nintendo game. It needs to not look like shit. It needs to not run like
Make
shit.
my eyes bleed.
Okay, simple as that. Like I just can't. Like I'm an asshole. I can't look at 12 frames per second. I need at least 45, dog. Like 30. Like maybe.
Yeah, you're a fancy bitch though, but
Yeah, that's just me. All right, I can't handle
no,
it.
the 12 FPS though is it's unacceptable when you're trying to make these, you're doing these big worlds and then it's just you're struggling along just trying to run in the open world that they built. Like the 30 frames per second should be the fucking let's go for that. If we have to take stuff out of the game to optimize other things to make it run smoothly, do it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know?
I agree with the 30 frames per second. I think Pokemon has been really suffering trying to get into 3D. And I think some games, like you look at other, like what is the Xenoblade games? Those games are absolutely massive.
Mm-hmm.
They're massive and they're gorgeous. Like
Yeah,
they
the draw
run, and they
distance
run.
is so good, and yeah.
So
Yeah.
it can be done. I just want to pull up one of my favorite developers is Gunpei Yokai. He developed the Game Boy for Nintendo. He has a theory, like his whole philosophy and design is what really I felt like Nintendo has encapsulated since pretty much the Wii. Like started focusing down that route, and that's lateral thinking with withered technology, which means Nintendo adapts old technology that is cheaper and not state of the art, but they make it in a more mass-produced, cheap way that they can outsell big sellers. Like for the example of the Game Boy, it outsold the Sega Game Gear, which was so much more powerful than it, but it didn't last as long. It was more expensive. You needed like 40 batteries to make that Game Gear run for 3 hours. But the Switch to me
legitimately got a Game Gear given to me. It's a core memory of mine. I was traveling. I was a kid traveling. My brother and I were traveling to Germany alone, so we were in like the airport kids room or whatever. And there was somebody there who had a Game Gear. And just kept getting so angry that it kept dying. And as they left for their plane, they're like, "Kid, do you want this?" And just gave me this Game Gear. I'm like, "Yeah!" And I tried to turn it on. It wouldn't turn on because,
of course,
they'd played it for 20 minutes.
Yeah. But yeah, the Switch to me has always been like, I'm fine with the games not being perfect as long as they're playable and as long as they're fun. And Nintendo always nailed that with their properties. They like even Pokemon, which runs like ass, is still a fun game to play.
Oh, of course.
And
totally.
the performance issues don't hamper the experience for me. I know it does for some people, and that's some people's problem. But for me, it's always been my Nintendo console. It's also been my RPG console, and it's been, which is weird because it's kind of been out of the RPG game for a long time. But they've been like, I'm playing Suikoden on it. I've got all the Final Fantasies on it. Like it's
a great indie machine for sure. Like, games that you don't need the high performance and you want handheld. That's where it's saying still to this day, of course. Yes.
Yeah, tactics games or turn-based RPGs. Like I love that because I also, Jacob, like pretty much play this exclusively in handheld mode. It's my machine for when my wife has the TV or we're watching something together that I don't really care about or whatever. I'm in bed.
Yeah, Balatro, like that kind next to your wife. Come on. That's
yeah,
life.
exactly. Like I still feel like I'm able to like engage in what's happening in the room while still like being kind of like, like so I can, I love like turn-based games and things like that on it because you can put it down and forget about it for a second or whatever. And so yeah, it's been a bit of that for me too. And speaking, just a quick comment about Pokemon, just give me an HD 2D Pokemon, guys. You know what I mean?
100%.
Get out of this chibi generic, like jaggy, dumb, no detail. Like I hate those style of Pokemon these days. And I'm like, just give me some grit and some like whimsy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna
I
get
have
flack for
something-
this, but I gotta say it. I gotta say it
Go
just
for it.
real quick. My favorite Pokemon game on the Switch was Brilliant Diamond.
Actually,
I don't
fucking
see
loved
that
it.
being an issue. Like,
No,
Yeah.
but people fucking hated that game. Or the Brilliant
was
Diamond
just-
Shining Pearl.
I
It
see
was
why.
a literal port of the game. It just
Yeah.
made some of quality of life changes, added a couple new areas to it, and other than that it was kind of the same thing that they did with Gold and Silver when they
Yeah.
made Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and that's exactly what I wanted out of it. And the game was
Agreed.
fun, it was enjoyable, and it ran fine.
Yep.
That's just me.
Totally. Okay, so we've kind of talked about performance and the issues with that. I think the Switch does have a pretty amazing library for Nintendo games. I mean, I think the only things that we really missed out on were like as far as Nintendo first party franchises was things like Star Fox, things like Donkey Kong. Is there any others that are
Star
really
Fox
like,
game that came out for the Switch?
No.
No, I don't think
Oh.
so.
There was the there's that
No,
weird
there
sort
was-
of like
There's
connection.
Starlink, which is
Starlink,
like has
yeah.
has like
okay.
a Switch exclusive DLC, which I actually played, and that game was actually really fun. It was pretty
mean, it was-
basic, but
it was
fun.
pretty fun.
Starlink was kind of like those games that you had like the toy that you could
Yeah.
connect to your game and then it fights in the game, but this was like
Toys to Life.
spaceships, and so it was an R-wing. That's
They
how
were
you
aiming
access
for
the
those
game.
like Warhammer 40K model painter crowd. Like,
Yeah, but even bigger than that, actually. Like they're like maybe double the size of like a normal miniature, like
They're little,
large.
like-
oh,
Yeah, little spaceship.
They're little
basically.
like little ships. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of similar to like Disney Infinity or what's the other one with Craft
Skylanders.
Gyro.
I like the
Skylanders. Yeah.
size of this, if you will, just if it was a spaceship. Yes, this is a golden knight right here.
Yeah, I actually played Starlink for a while. It was a pretty fun game. It was like a really like first person, or like the, what do you call it? Like baby's first No Man's Sky kind of thing. But yeah. Toys as a service, says Arturotron in the chat. But anything about the Switch's library that stands out for you guys, or any holes that you're missing in it, or just overall thoughts about where we ended up?
All I
the
care
sports
about
games sucked.
Oh, that's a good
Hey,
call, Steve.
and it's a
really good
tragedy.
call.
tennis
dude.
is fun.
It's
Tennis
tragic.
was legit. Mario Tennis.
Tennis was
Tennis
alright.
could have been so much better though. What about Mario like Strikers? Can we get a Strikers again?
I know.
There was
That
one.
We did.
Good one.
We
We
did.
got
and it
one.
sucked.
There was one.
We
No, I don't
It
count
was
that
pretty
one.
good.
I don't fucking count.
Oh
that.
shit!
It
Really?
was bad.
I loved it.
The online was bad. You couldn't have full
Yeah.
teams online. It was like it was rough.
All right. Let's not talk about the sports games. Fuck the sports games. The
I thought
Zeldas
I
was
are
gonna
good.
mention- Nintendo
one
ones,
sports
they're
series
The Zeldas are
really
good.
quick.
Say
I
that
want to
again.
mention the FIFA series that was literally just the same game
Oh
every
my
single
God.
year.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
yeah.
To the point where IGN's reviews were the same reviews, and they just changed the year title, and they put in there like, they didn't change the game, we're not changing the review, and it was just a copy paste of the year prior.
Funny.
Wow,
But
that's
with
horrible.
lower scores because they're like, it's ridiculous. I remember
Yeah.
I bought 2020, FIFA 2020 on there, and then I remember after that all of the were just nothingness, and so I was like, great. Well, I have FIFA 2020. I'm great. Like
Yeah.
it's fine. So. All right, cool. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, as far as like kind of where we are in, is online, like Switch Online, like both the game collection service, like their kind of version of whatever Nintendo Game Pass, but
Nintendo
sort
Game
of,
Pass. Yeah.
with, and then also just online functionality in general. Like, when was the last time you played an online Switch game with friends and,
Ga-
and had it?
Gage, it's
and
bad.
had
One
it?
time.
It's bad.
One
It's
time.
bad.
It's bad out
Smash
there
Brothers.
on the Nintendo internet. It's a bad time. Okay,
It's a bad time.
but I mean,
I
I
like
played
having
Mario Kart
three,
online one time, and I think it was like, it was my first, I think my first affiliate stream on Twitch.
wow.
I did like a
Rough.
12-hour thing, and then during the day, I remember Barrett Courtney was streaming, and he was doing Mario Kart, and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go online." So I was like, "Fuck it, let's go online and play Mario Kart on stream for a little bit." Did a few races, never connected to the online to play with anybody ever again.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Like
I
the
remember trying to
Yep.
play Smash with some friends, and it was like I think there's like a baked-in like 4-frame drop between like just
Bad net
automatically.
code.
So
bad net
like
code.
your input, and then 4 frames later, it like, and so I was like, there's just no way. And
Fun
sometimes it would just fully like lag out to the point where we're like, I have no idea where I am on the screen. It's so ridiculous. Rough.
Just wanted to say that at least the NES, SNES, whatever, or like all the classic retro stuff, that's cool that it's on there, but the
Yes.
rollout of it has been just so gimmicky and ridiculous. Like 3 games per service, like every 8 months is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just
Yeah.
put it all on there at the same time? I mean, I could have done that on any fucking emulator on the whole planet in about 2 seconds.
You're
Yeah.
driving
Where's
us from
Pokemon?
your mystery machine to
Yeah.
PC.
Where the
okay?
fuck is Pokemon, Mr. Hawks? James? Huh?
Yeah.
Where is it?
I'm with you. It's not. It's not
Like, it's a-
Where is it?
I keep looking. It's not there.
Is it
You
every
literally have
just
just money
no.
sitting on the table with these old Pokemon
Yep.
games that nobody can play.
Fucking charge us for it. I don't care.
what I'm
put it
saying.
out as a
I'm like-
collection?
Play them.
Put it out. Just the old
Put out a
ones.
collection. Fucking put out a collection with red and blue, gold and silver. You know, like
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yep.
Just go up to fucking Ruby and Sapphire. Not even Diamond or
Yeah.
Big Ruby and Big. I forget
The
the names.
bit ones, the bit collection,
Omega Ruby and shit. Like
basically.
just
Yeah.
the original ones, but the 3 collections. Put them into one game. Fucking charge $70 for it.
Yeah.
People are gonna be like, "Oh, they're so old. Why is it so much?" Because you're getting fucking 12 goddamn games right now.
Right.
And they're
But get
goddamn
'em-
masterpieces.
And
Yeah,
they're
get 'em-
masterpieces, and they're gonna run well. And the most you have to do is maybe make like a little hub thing to where I play Pokemon Red, and now I can upload those Pokemon into this little hub in the thing, and then when I go to Gold and
Right.
Silver, cool, they're right there. Or just use Home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Home,
yeah, exactly.
obviously, Yeah.
And
Put
then
your finger
like,
up your ass, Nintendo.
seriously, I mean, it's like I've bought all those games so many times. I would still buy them if they were, just up, not up res, but just, made to look nice running on the Switch. Like, no actual remaking or remastering of any sort. Just make them look nice on the Switch. Maybe have them widescreen in some sense or another. I mean, I know that the Game Boy
Make it so it'll look good if you're playing docked.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Or just like however, you format it for the screen so it looks right. That's all I would need, and I would just be happy as a clam. So anyways, I think overall, I think my feeling about the Switch is like it's an amazing console. There were really some pretty amazing experiences. I think the novelty of it, especially in those first few years, were amazing. I think during the pandemic it was amazing. Like, Animal Crossing and that was actually I saved Breath of the Wild for then. Actually, I played it in 2020, and so it was like,
But did you fucking know?
what do you mean?
Did you know there was going to be a goddamn pandemic?
Right before then, I was working in
Were you?
in Wulong, China,
Where
and
were you,
yeah. No, I actually what it was is I just didn't get it for a while, and I played The Witcher 3 first in pandemic, and then Breath of the Wild afterwards. It was amazing. It was an amazing time. But yeah, then I think we all agree that the hardware and the services and everything has really started to feel a little bit antiqued.
Long in the tooth.
Yep, which
Long in the tooth.
which brings us to a new one.
Really
new
quick, I
one.
feel like I haven't heard from Steven in the past 10 minutes. And I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I know, because
It's
Gage
because
never
you
gave
skipped
him a
over me
chance
and
to talk.
that's why you didn't hear from me.
That's right, Gage. That's right.
I don't know, man. The Zelda games were cool.
Now that he's talking, I'll be right back.
Fucking
This motherfucker.
Mr. Hawks eats peanut butter ass sundaes on his,
All right.
his time
Ooh.
off.
Sounds kind of good.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, continue. Sorry.
Here we go.
No, I'm just excited for Switch 2. Let's just bring Switch 2. I listen.
Is it this?
I now have the Steam Deck, and that's basically killed my Switch. I literally gave my Switch to my son because I stopped playing it, and I hadn't played it for fucking months on end, at least. The last thing I played was Tears of the Kingdom, and I was even like, okay, I may have on my PC for that game, maybe. Who can say?
Hmm.
No,
Allegedly.
you bought it.
Allegedly, but it because it maybe ran better on that platform. And and didn't look like ass. Anyways, yeah,
Agreed,
a lot of games
agreed.
looked like ass towards the maybe like last fucking 5 years of the Switch. So,
Except for
Let's-
Xenoblade. Once
except
again.
for
That's true.
Xenoblade, I'll tell you
What the fuck are
that.
they doing?
I played all of those
Wizardry?
games. Amazing. All of them are amazing. Nintendo put them on more shit or something. I don't know.
Wait,
Yeah,
is
they're a good
really
team.
quick? Is that a Nintendo series?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Monolith
like
I wasn't
second
sure.
party.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
They like I can't remember, but they're like they have sole like kind of they'll only make for Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like Retro Studios only or Retro Studios only.
Yeah.
makes
Yeah,
for
they're not
Nintendo.
they're not quite first party, but they're like
Second
they pretty
party?
much only. Yeah, they pretty much only publish on Nintendo. So
So it's like Game Freak with Pokemon, where Game Freak's not a Nintendo company. They make stuff for
They
other consoles
try
as well.
own Creatures,
yeah.
Game Freak,
Yeah.
and Nintendo all
Yeah.
own Pokemon.
So
yeah. But by the way, I would love to get some. I mean, I know there's some like mobile Pokemon games that aren't Game Freak, but like, let someone else take a stab at a Pokemon game. That'd be
You know,
really
like
nice.
Capcom
Mhm.
did Zelda. You know,
Oh,
Yeah.
there's-
Can we have that
Some of the
again?
best Zeldas.
I would
Hell
take
yeah.
a Capcom Pokemon game for God's sake. That sounds awesome. All right, so I'm gonna say
Rick
let's jump
M.
right in. Let's
Pocket
jump right
Monster
into
Hunter.
Pocket Monster Hunter. Oh man, fuck yeah!
beating a Pikachu with a giant sword.
Yeah, I carved this sword from a Charizard jaw. Now I'm gonna beat the shit out of a Squirtle.
I would
You meet
fucking
your-
play that game in a
You
heartbeat.
meet
Wow.
your first Team Rocket, and they just shoot your Pokemon in the head, and you're like, Team Rocket!
You run across Jesse and James from Team Rocket. You're wearing a necklace full of skulls, and they're just like, "Whoa, okay, well, never mind."
Team Rocket's
Uh,
fucking blasting off
Yeah.
again this way.
I was gonna say Team Rocket's blasting.
All right, let's get right into our predictions, and then we'll kind of do our overall. We'll kind of go back through. So Steven, I'm going to start with you. I know that you came in to this podcast a little bit right before we kind of started making it happen. But do you have any predictions for the Switch?
So there's a big one that we were just talking about that we're gonna see. We're gonna
Switch
see
2, I meant.
Metroid Prime 4.
Yep.
And we're gonna it's
Wow,
gonna
what a
be
great prediction!
a mouse. Hey, fuck you! It's gonna have mouse support
Ooh,
because
good.
it's gonna be mouse. That's the caveat, right?
I like that.
Obviously, like I don't know if it's like confirmed, but they're like
Oh, it's
the way they were moving.
they got
around,
a
like-
patent for it and everything.
Yeah,
And then
Yeah,
they
it
showed
seems like
the
it's going to be
mice
a
doing
confirmed
that.
thing.
that would be a perfect game to pair with the like aiming support for it, right? Like,
Yeah.
Oh look, it's like the best of both worlds. PC and console combined. I don't fucking know.
So
Whatever
would
they're gonna do
you
with it, but
so would you think like one is going to be the mouse, and then the other you're just using the stick to
Yeah.
actually move?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and shoulder buttons for whatever, like other menus
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
I think they could. It's Nintendo. Come on, they'll find a way to make it. I don't know, less stupid than I'm making it sound right now.
No,
But
No, they definitely
or
won't.
maybe
It'll
it'll be just
or
as
will
stupid.
they? Yeah.
Yeah.
be the same.
That's are we doing round robin or are we just doing them all? Like
Well,
I just only have one
kinda asked-
prediction.
I kind of just asked for one,
have a
yeah, and then
few.
we
Yeah,
and then
right.
we'll
okay,
go through
that was my
some-
big one because like I think they're gonna have a lot of support for that thing. Like I think that's gonna be like
Yep.
the big like input thing. I know we're gonna have like some cool games, I'm sure, and Fantasy Critic's gonna go crazy. Everybody
Mm.
get your asses
Yeah, you know
ready.
it.
So
shit ready to click.
um,
Cool. All right, I like the
I-
prediction. Just mouse
Yeah, yeah,
support
that's fine.
being front and center for Metroid Prime. That's
Yep.
cool.
Cool.
Dig it. Let's go to our guests. James, I know you talked about Metroid Prime already, but
Yeah.
what about the rest of your prediction?
Well, I do think that we're going to see the Legend of Zelda remasters that they've been holding over our heads for the last 3 years.
Seriously.
Apparently
Wind
just
Waker
sitting
and
on
Twilight
and they're
Princess.
done.
Yeah, apparently
Yeah.
they're done. According to Jeff Grubb, that they are complete. They're waiting for the right
Pretty
time.
good.
I think we'll get them they'll launch shortly after the Switch 2. They're going to be in like kind of a window where they don't have a major release, and they'll plug those out because they know they'll sell. And I think that they'll be playable on both Switch 1 and Switch 2. I do have another thing that I do think, like, just going off of the mouse functionality, I just want you guys to imagine this. There are going to be a lot of games that can come out for the Switch that are going to absolutely just dominate a console-styled version of it. Imagine playing with your buddies at a kitchen table with your Switch 2 all propped up, and you're playing a RTS game with your mouse features, or LAN shooters, or even tactics games where it just feels better to control with a fucking mouse than it does to feel with a controller. There's going to be a lot of weird little functionalities that this mouse is going to open up doors to. And I know that I've never personally done it where I've like hotkeyed a game or like gone through all of the controls to make it so the mouse is certain features and then the other half of a controller are the other features. But the fact that the Switch will have like such a light second Joy-Con or whatever is going to be a lot better than holding like a one-handed full controller where you've got the weight of the other half on it. I think it's going to play quite well. They wouldn't do this if it wasn't worth their time. I mean, they would. They've done other things that are completely not worth their time, like a Wii U gamepad.
HD Rumble.
HD Rumble. Yeah, feel those glasses in your
my, the ice cubes in the glass.
Dude, I felt those ice cubes, man. Thanks to Cherry in the chat for subscribing with Prime for 7 months, by the way. Just taking this time
I think I saw some fucking idiot in the chat posted something about Baldur's Gate 3 on the Switch 2. Like,
yeah,
I like that prediction.
It can work. It can work.
It can work.
Barely works on Xbox.
Shit to work on a Series S.
That's true. This is true.
This is all good points.
They got Doom Eternal to fucking work on Switch 1, okay?
The Switch 2 is going to have...
Eat my nuts.
Apparently, Switch 2 has, like, DLSS, according to a lot of the early leaks and rumors and stuff. So, yeah, games will be able to run on it. That's what I think. That's not my prediction.
Okay.
That's just a statement.
All right. No, I that'd be awesome. I mean, if we're getting up to that... I mean, I think... This isn't my prediction either, but I think they're gonna put the way that they like marketed Skyrim for the first one. I kind of think Elden Ring and then maybe Baldur's Gate would be a thing where they market for parties. We'll see.
I do think
Nice.
my last prediction is I think we're gonna see a Star Fox game, and I think we'll see it in the first 3 years. I think we've had enough time of no Star Fox, and there is a demand for it. They were talking about doing that racing game. It got canceled or scrapped or just put on hold for like it's just a rumor, right? But
yeah,
I think we're gonna see it. I think it's one of those franchises that does have a following more so than say like you look at F-Zero or Kid Icarus, but Star Fox has like this sort of cult demand for it, and they fucking dropped the ball with Zero, and just stop trying to remake the first game. Just give us a sequel. Just make it look like really fucking good Star Fox 64 and play like a really good Star Fox 64. That's all we fucking need. All right, so that's it.
No,
we're gonna see it.
I hear you. Give me like just to like do the Rogue Squadron formula, but just for Star Fox. You know what I mean? Something like that. It's not that hard. Cool. I like it. Mr. Hawks, what about you, my man?
Well, listening to James, I just had a thought, and this isn't even really a Switch 2 prediction, but this is maybe a hope. If Nintendo can come out and this whole mouse connectivity stuff, if they can get that to work on console and they can get an actually functional online service going, I think that might force Sony and Xbox to make it so you can actually just use a mouse and keyboard on their consoles. Because there are some games that let you do it, but it's not, across the board. But if Nintendo can be like, look, this is a thing that fucking gamers will do when they're playing Fortnite on console, and then they're dominating.
Yeah.
It might be a thing that can actually make a change in the gaming sphere for other consoles.
Oh, for
Will
sure.
it happen? I don't know, but if they can actually harness the power of that and then be able to like, yeah, you can do this, and then when you're playing online, look, now you got a mouse and keyboard and you're beating everybody. But if it ends up being just, oh my god, cheap viewers, oh hell yeah, if it ends up literally just being another thing that Nintendo developers use and nobody else does,
Yeah, interesting.
it's the gimmick. You know what I mean? Where I think my prediction with the Switch 2 is
And I keep forgetting also.
yeah.
Ghosts.
And maybe once again, maybe this is just more hopium. Maybe it is it is going to be the console that third-party developers actually want to make stuff for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because for the last few generations, like we've said multiple times, the best Nintendo Switch games, the best Nintendo Wii U games, the best Nintendo Wii games were the Nintendo games. There wasn't anything that was third party that's really, being like, oh, I have to get a Switch to play this third party game. Or I have to get a Switch to play this multi-platform game. No, it is, I have to get a Switch because I want to play Pokemon. I want to play Zelda. I want to play Super Smash Brothers. I'm hoping that because this isn't as much of a giant departure from the previous, generation, that Nintendo's going to be like, cool, we've got this, and now let's make sure that other developers will do things that are actually going to matter. But my only other prediction is I think we're going to see a lot more new titles in these like Nintendo franchises. I think we'll get a Star Fox. I think we'll get an F-Zero. Like brand new ones, because some of the Switch games that have cut, like the Donkey Kong games for Switch, were Wii U titles that were ported over.
Great games.
I'm pretty sure like the last Mario Kart was a Wii U title. There was a lot of Wii U stuff that failed over there that they then spread out throughout the years for the Switch. That now they don't have that. So now they have to do collections or
fresh.
They're gonna have to make new stuff.
New games.
So you think that that gave them more leeway to be like, okay, let's put this out as like a bridge because the tech really isn't quite there or whatever reason. And now
I wouldn't even say the tech isn't quite there. Just more of like a, hey, nobody fucking bought this before, so not everyone's gonna realize this was a game that has already come out. We're gonna put HD on it, even though like the Donkey Kong game was already a Wii U game in HD. Like what are you doing here? But
it's not higher than 1080p anyway.
yeah. But it's I'm hoping that them not really having that, and it's not a huge pool of titles, let's be honest, but I'm hoping that them not having that kind of safety net of, oh, well, we can just reach back into the well and bring out these games that nobody played is gonna make them think, cool, we have to do something new. We have to make a new Donkey Kong game. And it can be a side scroller game. Those are typically the best Donkey Kong games anyway. It doesn't have to be this whole brand new 3D platforming world. No, just do what you do best and do what these characters will do best and make a new game and people will go fucking crazy. Yeah, like James said, a Star Fox game is going to pop off because you haven't had a new Star Fox game since, I guess, technically the Super Nintendo Classic that had the Star Fox 2 game that was just never released.
That is weird.
2017.
And then
but
had
they're not like they're not going to be able to just pull games out. But if they do pull games out of the past, it is going to actually be classic games like the old Pokemon, like the remake or whatever of the Zelda games. Yeah. But my prediction is that, and it's doom and gloom, but the Switch 2 is going to be the thing that proves whether or not Nintendo has learned from the Switch, if that makes sense.
Cool. Yeah.
Yep.
Also, Mario Kart is coming out this year, and then I'm going to win Fantasy League. So
Is it coming out this year?
Bro,
It doesn't
I mean,
even
I
look
feel like
good. It just looks like the same bullshit, just higher res.
it's-
I'm with you.
The same bullshit
best-
is one of like the best, most
No,
fun
the best-
games
No,
ever made.
it's not fun.
The best
suck.
Mario Kart is the best Mario Kart is 64 by far.
No, best Mario Kart
anyways.
is original Super Nintendo Mario Kart. That's the best one.
Wow, interesting.
Purist.
You're a piece of shit.
I'm a purist.
That's a weird way to pronounce Double Dash, but
Double
yeah.
Dash is also good. That's my number
Double
two.
Dash
Double
is
Dash
great.
is great.
Double
Double Dash
Dash,
is
number two.
Mike Mutiny in the chat says it's Double Dash. I don't disagree. But if I had to play a Mario Kart today, right now, I would pick 64 with my friends around a TV on those controllers.
64.
A lot of people
anyways,
like it.
it's the jank. The jank is what I crave. Anyways.
No,
Okay, Jacob, what's your prediction?
I mean, yeah, we know that. You already said you're a Bethesda fan. We get it. You love
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
my prediction
Give
is
it to
very
me.
simple, and it's something that I just want anyway. So I'm just gonna say it. Backwards compatibility and general increase of performance of backwards compatible games will be a tent pole of the Switch 2 Direct. We are going to see footage of Switch 1 games running smoothly and beautifully, and even a better looking version of Prime 4 on there, you know. And then also that in docked mode, I mean, we're going to get 1080p and dock mode 1440p. Those are my predictions.
Okay. And then do you think like maybe some sort of like NDSS or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, that'll be there too.
NR,
I guess since
Think
I
it's
mentioned that
Nards?
earlier.
NRDSS.
We'll have some
Yeah, that's
ERP
good.
scaling for sure.
So, question about Metroid Prime 4 because they showed it off today. Once again, green. I don't know. I need to fix that. So they showed off Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Yeah, today for the
Beyond.
Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's either going to be one of two things. One, that is going to be the swan song for the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And then and it'll be, you can play it on the Switch too, but it's not going to be a thing. Or do you guys think that, I think maybe James mentioned this earlier, that is going to then be the thing that they show off as, oh, these games run so much better on the Switch too.
I think
And that's
so.
going to be what they focus
Yeah.
on, being like, yeah, it looked
I hope
cool
that's the case.
last week, but now
Yeah, it looks
Boom.
even better. Works even better. On
it's
Switch too.
even better. The vagina doors have even more flaps. It's so
Yep.
much better.
Yeah,
So
more
much
What if they
lasers.
showed it? They start showing you the Switch
James.
1 version, and then they do the swipe, and it's Switch 2.
Yeah, and it's hotter.
I love that.
It's
I
sexier.
love that.
So
It's,
so
you
I
can
mean,
see the
smoother.
pores. You know what I'm saying?
is that going to be? Will it be more impressive if that fucking green? Jesus Christ! Will it be more impressive if it's not Mario, Metroid Prime 4 looks better next week, or if they come out and they're like, oh, here's Tears of the Kingdom, and it looks even better. But that's a game that came out what now
This,
4 or 5 years
literally,
ago?
that's literally what I just said was my prediction. Is they're going to do
That's his
that? They're going to
prediction.
show several Switch 1 games on the Switch 2 running better. Not necessarily looking better, right? Like the same
No,
resolution, maybe even better in 1440p.
I think.
but
I'm
in
just saying
60
for you, what would be
frames.
more impressive? This game
Yeah.
that we saw today, the next week it looks slightly better, or
All of it.
next week we see Tears and it's 60 frames.
All
now?
of it. It'll
What's more
all,
Here's
impressive
my-
to you?
all of it.
Here's my worry. Real fast, I'll kick it back to you, James. So here's my worry. My worry is that it's not an inherent thing for the console, and that Nintendo is gonna sell us Nintendo is gonna sell us remasters or up-res things like the $10 upgrade,
No,
like Sony
no.
did.
Yeah.
Where
No.
if you own the first game and you get the Switch 2 version
No.
or something, like what if they sell us a Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, bundle of Switch 2 version? I'm just worried. I'm
No,
worried.
Gage.
I
Three
don't.
generations
I
of
certainly don't
game
want
won't
that.
No,
fucking
Gage.
buy.
Nintendo could do that. They could do that.
They
But
might
they're
do
not
that,
going
but
to.
They'll probably do it like they did the Mario Kart DLC, where if you just
Yeah.
have the subscription, you get it for free.
No,
Yeah, but what if you don't have the subscription?
Then
makes
you pay
sense to me.
10 bucks.
Fucking
or
do
whatever.
that.
Then you
Just
they're not going to do
if
that.
I buy the Switch 2, it better fucking run better on the Switch 2. That's
Oh,
what
for
I'm
sure.
saying.
I'm not saying it's going to be a remaster or anything like that. We're just
Oh,
going to
yeah.
get more frames, and it's just going to
No, I know. I know what you're saying.
60 frames and 1080p. I mean, that's fucking, and then upscaling to 1440 when it's docked, if it can.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's all I'm saying. And then if they decide to do like a remaster or reimagining of certain games, then yes, maybe. But I'm just saying, like, during this direct, they're gonna show us games running better from the
I
past.
hope so. I really, really, truly hope so.
Yes.
All right, my prediction. Nintendo Switch will kick off the year of Donkey Kong with the following events that will occur in 2025, making this year the year of the big beefy ape boy. Number one, Donkey Kong 64 Donkey Kong 64 gets a remaster / remake that's released on Switch 2 as a full price game. That's the reason it hasn't shown up on what do you call it? Nintendo Switch Online.
They just forgot they had it.
2. Nintendo EAD, which is the Mario Odyssey team, releases a new 3D Donkey Kong platformer in the spirit of Donkey Kong Country. And then 3, Nintendo theme parks open with their Donkey Kong Country expansion in Japan and North America. Oh, and then 4. There's supposed to be a 4 here. I didn't do it. Here. There it is. 4. A trailer for the Donkey Kong movie. Or maybe it's like Mario Movie 2, but it's like themed around some like Donkey Kong subtitle. And that'll be shown off. Not necessarily at this Switch. None of these are necessarily the Switch Direct that's about to come up, but this entire year, these things will happen at some point. I thought.
Really
fuck
quick,
yeah,
did you
Gage.
say the 3D Mario is going to be kind of based on country, or did you mean 64?
No. I said, well, okay. So the rumor was,
Did
and
I miss?
the rumor was that the Mario Odyssey, which is Nintendo EAD,
Yeah.
I think Team 8 or whatever they call them, is working on a 3D Donkey Kong platformer. I guess that would be like 64 or whatever. But I just think that it would be like, you know, Donkey Kong Country 3D or Donkey Country whatever you call it.
Okay. Because you said like in the vein of country, which I was like,
You're
was
right.
there a
Rather than a
3D
bunch of
country, not a
monkeys
2D
with
one?
guns.
Rather than a bunch of monkeys with guns, yeah, for sure. I just think, well, with like the Donkey Kong Country is the expansion for the theme park. I don't know, like something like that. We'll see what happens. But I just think that I think they're going to lean into some DK this year, and
It's an
I don't know.
interesting-
I don't necessarily like it, but I just think that's what's going to happen. So
The only thing holding me back from agreeing with you is the fact that we haven't seen anything Donkey Kong yet. Outside of that first, like the remaster of Donkey Kong Country Returns at the beginning
Frozen
of the year.
Empire.
No. The first one came out years ago. Frozen one was fucking
Ghostbusters.
banger. That was a great
Kingdom
fucking
of
game.
that's an
Donkey
amazing.
Kong.
That's an
But,
amazing
yeah, it was-
game. Tropical Freeze.
Just the it was. I don't know.
Godzilla v Donkey Kong.
I was gonna say it's Kingdom of the Planet of Donkey Kong.
There we
I
go.
love
We nailed it. We got there.
I don't know. I just think that he's been kind of a neglected character on the Switch, and that they're going. I feel like he might have had some renewed life with the Mario movie, and then now they're doing expansion for Donkey Kong Country at the theme parks. And I just think synergistically, there needs to be a new Donkey Kong game to get people who might be coming into like re-entering that sort of character franchise from the Mario movie and the theme parks and that kind of stuff into the actual like software. So we'll see.
Yeah, Mr. Banner in chat just said the Donkey Kong Country just opened at Universal Japan, and there's going to be a Donkey Kong. There's going to be a Donkey Kong this year.
And we can't argue with Steve there.
Nice.
So
Hey, good point.
No, Mr. Bannon's.
Don't slander
take
him.
offense.
Bannon's,
Don't
Mr.
slander
Bannon's
him.
great.
He's a good guy.
There's
Sorry.
also they've done a Donkey Kong redesign recently because in the movie he had a different eye line, and in the new Mario Kart he's got that new eye line. Like whereas like it's kind of like sunk. He's like he's wearing DK goggles.
He looks like he did in the Game Boy. What it's called? It's called
it's
Super
called the
Mario
Game
Bros.
Boy, Gage.
or whatever.
Game &
But,
Watch?
you know the one where he's throwing barrels down at you. You know the classic.
Barrels. Yeah.
You know and
You
he
mean
steals.
Donkey Kong?
Is it just called Donkey Kong for the Game Boy? What is it called?
arcade
The
or
original Donkey Kong, where you're
It's
It's
Mario.
the original
you're
Donkey
one?
Kong. Where you're
Which one?
Mario. Yeah, that's what it is.
It's called
the
Donkey
original
Kong.
Man.
There it is.
Literally.
Yeah, there it is.
You know the Donkey Kong game? I forget the name of it, but where he's Donkey Kong and being Donkey Kong.
No, it's
You know that one?
it's called
Yeah,
Donkey
you know.
Kong.
barrels.
Did you know that there's a game called Donkey Kong Jr. about Donkey
Yes.
Kong's
Yes.
son?
I
Yes.
did know that.
Technically, if you want to follow the
you
lore,
go.
technically that's Donkey Kong is Junior, and Cranky
Yeah.
Kong was the original barrel thrower.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
that's why at the beginning of Donkey Kong Country, Cranky Kong is on top of those girders at the very beginning, listening to his old timey
Girders.
tunes.
Yep.
And then young DK comes in, knocks him off with his boombox, playing the new version of Donkey Kong.
Yeah. It's rad.
Love that.
Donkey Kong
Love that,
Country,
yeah.
one of the best games ever made.
Great game.
Great. Cool. Hell yeah. Well, those are some great predictions all the way around. Any other hopes for the Switch as far as new game entries or hardware features, Switch Online, or what do you think? Any weird WND, some weird Nintendo decisions that we can
Give
expect?
us Kid Icarus again.
Oh, hell yeah.
Give
Sakurai.
us a fucking
Sakurai Kid
working
Icarus?
voice chat that doesn't go through a goddamn app.
Yeah,
That's true.
we just need better online.
Well, that's a thing that I don't think Nintendo's going to go away from that. Because
No, you're
I don't
probably
think Nintendo, one, cares enough about online, and two, knows enough about online. Because the entire reason that they're doing you have to use the app and you're using these friend codes that you have to give somebody to be, is this idea that that's the only way to keep people safe online. And until they
Garden, yeah.
realize that you're making it harder for your fan base and like the customers to actually play online, and until they realize that you're making it so people don't want to play online, I don't think they're going to change that. I think it's going to be the same online functionality
I hope not.
on the Switch too.
I fucking hope not.
I'm not saying I want it to happen. I
I know.
just don't think Nintendo is going to completely change their online because, like,
Yeah.
what games are people buying to play online? Like, besides Splatoon and like maybe, well, you're doing Fortnite now, I guess, but
Fortnite actually works pretty good on the Switch. I actually used to when Fortnite first came out on the Switch. I loved it poning on people because they just were going and people got good eventually. But
Pwned.
Pwned. I do think that look, everything that we've seen about the Switch 2, and even just like
so many best viewers.
and
I
just
know.
even
Another one? Oh, that's on yours now.
I got him.
We both
I got him.
Both got tagged.
I do think with like Doug Bowser and Nintendo of America kind of being put a little bit more first and foremost as far as like just even the marketing of the Switch, and then like just the fact that it's not like you said, Mr. Hawks, it's not such a big jump to some weird new gimmicky machine that's very much just an iteration of the Switch 2. Like I do think there's an idea that this next generation of the Switch is going to be kind of like staying the course a little bit. You know, they don't have like a Wii U to fix, and they don't have like a like a Wii to one up or anything like that. Like this is just going to be, I hope, just a modernization of Nintendo. Even the fact that they said backwards compatibility is a thing. Like it looks like they are hoping to at least stay in more of the mainstream. Just here's the GameCube to the N64 type of vibe. You know what I mean? So here's hoping that things like accounts and things like Switch Online are improved in certain ways. I don't think it's going to get all the way. Nintendo's still kind of a toy company fundamentally, but we'll see. We shall see.
Oh, Mr. Bandit did not know that. Mr. Bandit, did you know that there was a Switch thing that happened today?
That was a
Mr.
Switch
Bannon
Direct.
just got back from across South no, Japan, I think. Like he just got back from Japan. He was traveling across.
You were in Nintendo World.
You
He
were in
was.
Nintendo and Sega Land.
Mike
And this
Mutiny
part is the
Segaland.
best part of the direct. This part right here.
with the
Yeah,
big
this
lady,
is weird as fuck.
So odd.
big ass lady.
Big meme.
Or whatever. Some shit.
Living the dream.
Make this
That's-
somehow into the thumbnail, Gage.
Okay, sounds
Yes.
good. That's
Please.
the new.
You
That's
gotta
the
make.
new-
But make it Mr. Hawks.
Switch 2 as the big lady is Switch 2, and then the small one is Switch 1. There you go.
There you go. That's there.
That's kinda
you
hot.
nailed it, Steven.
That's kind of.
Steven, that's why you're the goat. No, this is the new lady Demetresque on the internet.
Oh yeah, already. There's all sorts of fan art.
Tamagotchi life, not Tamagotchi. You know.
Step on me.
That's
Although there
what
was
they
a
are now.
They need to have a
Tamagotchi
Tamagotchi
game in there too. God damn.
Yeah,
it.
that was weird. That was
Oh,
weird.
what a
Oh,
fucking
boy.
day.
Yeah, what a day.
Make it Hank Hill. What a day. So, well, yeah, you guys, thanks so much for coming on here and speculating about only a week. Well, not
Are we
even.
live
Not even a
reacting to that Switch one next week? Because I don't have work, so I can.
Oh,
I'll watch
depends
it.
on.
I'll be
It
at work.
depends on my schedule. I might be able to do that. You're at work at 6 a.m. Oh, I guess you're an hour ahead. Yes.
Mm.
You're in the same time zone.
I work at 9.
Oh,
That's
there you
the
go.
time
So you can watch it at 6.
Oh, I'm not gonna get up at 6 in the morning. Fuck you guys.
That's fair. That's
Doing that
fair.
shit.
100%.
I get up
Mr.
at
Hawks,
7.
my only problem is that
Maybe,
my daughter will be getting up. Usually gets up at 6:30, so I'm gonna get interrupted. But I
Okay,
could
give her a
probably do it.
headset and a mic. Let's,
Yeah,
that's
throw
true.
her
Person.
They're on.
Start early.
Mario.
Yeah. She'd be like Mario.
Oh,
Should we-
Yeah,
we
let's
haven't.
go.
We didn't talk about it. I don't know how we didn't talk about it, but we're getting we're getting a new 3D Mario game this year, right?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I
Maybe.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
So,
So-
who said no?
I think they've been working on it. I think they've been working on a Donkey Kong. That's what I
Okay,
think.
so
I don't think we're getting a 3D Mario this year.
wait, so
No.
I don't
just
think
me
so.
Green
and just
Devil,
me
no.
and you, James, think it's coming?
Yeah.
That's it.
I guess. so.
Wow. Well, guess what? See this?
I also
See this shit? See this shit right
Oh.
here, motherfucker?
You should have told me.
Right fucking
I have the same
here.
shirt. I could
Mario.
have worn it.
Mario.
Ooh.
Mario. Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
that's an old design, but it checks out.
It checks out exactly. And yeah, you have a Bad Brain shirt, so that's pretty cool too.
Cool.
No, I don't. It's a
Um,
Red Salt Lake shirt.
Oh,
Oh,
he's
There
going.
you go, James. Oh, that's
he's got the
that's
Mario.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
With a turnip. Wow.
Do I have any?
Turnip?
I think I have Mario sound effects, but I don't think they're on here. Oh yeah,
All
I
I
do.
have is
Thank you so much for playing my game.
I'm a Chris Pratt.
I got
confirmed.
I got this one too,
Oh, it's-
and this
oh,
one.
nice.
Since we're at the end of the video.
Nice.
perfect.
Well, thanks you guys so much for coming on and speculating about Switch 2. We will definitely, if we don't live react, if I'm not on there with you, Robert, maybe we will. We'll certainly at least have a reactions video that night where we go through the breakdown of all the announcements and our impressions of everything that we saw from Switch 2. That's going to be April 2nd. That's a Wednesday, I believe.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see you
yeah, it's
then
next
for
Wednesday.
sure.
Yeah.
Make it so.
We'll see you then for sure. And then, any games content you want to see, we're here. We're always doing impressions of showcases or reacts to different game trailers, things like that. Tier lists, and then this is of course Neon Topic, which is our discussion show here on Neon Gaming Dimension. So check us out on twitch.tv/Neon Pocket Dimension. See us live. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/@Neon Gaming Dimension, and you can check out Neon Pocket Dimension on YouTube.
They're a
as well.
Japanese country, Jacob. They're a Japanese company.
Who is?
I know you don't
I'm not watching the marquee.
Are you doing this to us so early?
That's great. That's great. Well, thanks you all for joining us. I've been Gage, aka Luke Shot First. Going down the panel, everyone say goodnight. Steven, starting with you. We'll come back to me.
Good night.
Excellent.
Have a good night. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh yeah, wait, no, promote yourselves.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
there
I
you
can
go.
do that
That's what
too.
he meant to say.
I
That's what I meant to
stream
say.
at twitch.tv or twitch.tv/BLP Entertainment, and I'm going to be streaming Death Stranding after this. So you guys wanna
Yeah,
hang
we're
out.
gonna rate.
Nice,
I'm-
nice.
Obviously.
We'll just
Okay,
rate
that'd be
you.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Robert, what about you?
Hey, I stream sometimes, but most importantly, I've got a podcast called Story Motors Podcast. We just put up a new episode today that was all about Kojima and Death Stranding.
There you go.
Funny enough.
Synergy.
Yeah, with Neo Aoshi and Rose Waltz. And next week we've got a really, really special episode. So every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, new episodes of Story Motors Podcast. Give us a follow on YouTube. If we hit 500 subs on YouTube by the end of the year, I'm going to play a game that I absolutely don't want to play, but I'll do it all live on stream for everybody to watch. So,
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob,
Also,
anything you want to plug for our channels? Oh, sorry, go.
Discograph Podcast coming soon.
Yeah. I'll plug that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
But
plug
yeah,
that.
Jacob, anything?
Yesterday we did a fun conversation about the MCU cast reveals, how we were staring at chairs for 5.5 hours. So check out youtube.com/@ Neon Pocket Dimension to check that out. It's live right now. Remember, you could also check out all our stuff on any podcast service if you search Neon Pocket Dimension or Odd Valley. I think it's just Odd Valley. For that crazy podcast. We also came off of a whole day stream, St. Patty's weekend.
What happened on that stream,
Big
bud?
announcements.
I mean,
big announcements.
there was some sort of proposal. So if you want to check out those videos, I think there's 6. They're in one fun playlist. So just check out youtube.com/@ Odd Valley Studios for all that fun content. Drink along as always if you can, and then don't forget. Right here, Neon Gaming Dimension. We talk video games every Monday. 5-Minute Gamer, a new episode forever. We're gonna I have some in the backlog ready to drop every week, but then there could be some more cutting in. It could be me and any one of these guys doing it. But we just play a game for only 5 minutes and review it. It's wacky, it's fun, it's quick. So check that out, and remember to subscribe on YouTube, and then watch us live, twitch.tv/Neon Pocket Dimension, all that fun shit.
And I'm going to see Jacob in real life in less than a month.
That's true.
I'm
Fuck.
so jealous.
I'm excited.
It's not fair.
Dude, I'm excited. Dude,
Yeah.
it's a wrestling thing. It's coming up. It's the weekend of WrestleMania. We're going to go that Thursday to 2 local shows. And then Friday night, we'll do a podcast here in the studio. We'll talk about wrestling and shit and get shit-faced. So
It's
I'm really
actually
excited.
funny enough. Neither of them are local shows.
Oh, okay.
That is
Whatever.
the magic. That's the magic of WrestleMania weekend. Is that wherever WrestleMania is, companies from all around the world come out and do shows during that week in that city.
Mhm.
So legitimately, if I didn't want to do anything else, including sleep or eat, I could be at a wrestling show all day for like 6 days straight.
That's insane.
Just going from
awesome.
one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Yeah. So I'm bringing Jacob to 2 different shows. We're doing one, literally leaving that, going to the second one on the Thursday. So
yeah, as long as I can find a beer, I'll be happy.
I'm hoping
I'm
that
sure.
they sell beer in Vegas. I hope the GCW show has beer. Trust me. GCW,
I don't know, I'm gonna
last
look
time I
into
was
that.
in Vegas for a GCW show, I bought like a 6-pack of Bud Lights, and then I was just walking around handing beers out to the wrestlers. So
That's awesome.
Nice.
yeah, it was fucking awesome. So
Well, yeah. Stay tuned for me and Mr. Hawks have a little side project, but it's a cool thing happening. It's called the Discograph Podcast. We did a bit of a pilot last year. If you want to check it out, it'll be on the Story Motors feed about Billy Joe Armstrong. But we got in Green Day in
nobody else
general,
in
yeah.
Green Day
And
does anything. Yeah.
but we got our episode 1 of this seasonal show. It's gonna be dropping pretty soon, so stay tuned to both of our channels, Neon Pocket Dimension and Story Motors. We'll give you the update when it's time. So
Yep.
yeah,
Sweet.
all right, y'all. Thanks for joining us. We'll be here to talk more Switch stuff and more gaming stuff in general with you soon. So we'll see you next time. Peace.